person here present. I am asked to talk about discipline and education. Mr. Principal, discipline is the lifeblood of human society. Without discipline, human society will perish. But I'm here today to join you to celebrate the ingenuity of the human being. Just look around. The dress the women are wearing, the clothes men are wearing. Look at the tents. Look at the chairs, the table, adorned with drinks and gifts. Look at the students. They started from childhood as babies, but look at them today. 10 years ago, 15 years ago, how were they? Who invested in them? Who sacrificed for them to be who they are today? They are not a byproduct of a day's work or the work of a single individual. They are a byproduct of a collective enterprise, of parents, of teachers, of the community, of peer group. That is human society. Human society requires the capacity to control ourselves and direct ourselves. A small baby lacks capacity, manual dexterity, the capacity to think at a higher level, the capacity to control emotion, control mind, control body. And that small baby must be assisted to take charge of that human body, to be able to grow. And growth means the capacity to control emotion, the capacity to control mind, the capacity to control body, the capacity to control behavior. And that's what education is all about. It enables the person to develop the capacity to train the mind, so that you'll be able to concentrate and focus the mind to be able to absorb ideas about nature and society. To know requires discipline. No mind has the capacity to know without being disciplined. And that discipline means to be in control, to be able to focus. And these young people had to be assisted by parents and teachers to be able to control their minds, to be able to sit down and listen and absorb, retain, to be able to also take ownership of ideas, of knowledge. That's why they are here today. You contributed to that enterprise in enabling them to take charge of their minds, to know the importance of knowledge. Without knowledge, we cannot build a civilization. Without building a civilization, our society will be like a jungle, and we'll be like animals, and we'll feed on each other's flesh. To transform human society from being a jungle into a civilized conglomeration of people, we require the transfer of knowledge. And that's what you have achieved today. And that's what discipline is all about. That knowledge is not sufficient just to retain it in the human mind. We must be able to translate it to be able to transform human society, to be able to build. No society had ever attained civilization without being able to produce thinkers. And you need discipline to produce thinkers. And these young people are now thinkers. But we must move to the next stage in being able to transform thinking into inventing. The creative application of knowledge. And that's what they are here for. And that's why we have all disclosed people developing skills, training the human hand. It's not only enough to have knowledge, but you must be able to train the human body, the human hand, the human eyes, all aspects of the body, so that you'll be able to produce what we need as human beings. We must transform people from thinkers into inventors, into people with skill. But that is not enough. You can have the skill, but we must be able to utilize the skill to be able to change human society. We must transform our ability to invent into the ability to be able to build. So that is the challenge of every society. And Mr. Principal, today you have addressed the first stage of that challenge. You've been able to inculcate in the minds of these young people a sense of purpose, a sense of direction, a sense that they are human beings who deserve to live like human beings. You've been able to inculcate in them that they are embodiment of dignity and self-worth, that they deserve respect. They deserve honor. And that's why they are sitting here today with a sense of achievement, that they are becoming human beings. We are born living beings, but we grow to become human beings. If we are not nurtured like human beings, we become animals who do not care for others, who will not live for others, who will not die for others. We live for ourselves and for no one else. We become beasts. But today we can celebrate that you have achieved the first stage of nurturing human beings to have a sense of purpose and direction. Now they must know that they must leave the school, but must have aspiration to go on. Because life does not stop here. Life goes in stages, from the cradle to the grave. And each state has a task, a challenge. And we must identify the task, the challenge, and set our priorities straight, and be determined to achieve it. That's what discipline is all about. You must set your purpose, your objectives, your goal. Who do you want to be tomorrow? Determine that for yourself and help them to determine that. Parents will contribute, teachers will contribute, every other human being will contribute. But determine who you want to be. And be determined to work to become that person. That's what discipline is all about. Discipline is not about taking sticks and beating people like donkeys and horses. Discipline is nourishing the mind, is nurturing, is helping the person to develop a sense of appreciation of self, self-esteem, to want to be somebody, and then be ready to work to be that person. That's what discipline is all about. So I must conclude by emphasizing that these young people have attained the first stage of being human beings. They must move on. But to move on will require sacrifice. Look at the young girls. You can say, I am now mature. I can go and develop a relationship. But you may wish to go to a higher level of education. And that will require that you shape your life. You cannot just say, I will do whatever I want to do. That's not the human being. Because everything you do has implications. So you must ask yourself whether the implication of your action will lead you where you want to go. And that's why you must make choices in life. You do not do it for your parents, you do it for yourself. Because your parents will not live forever. Every parent prays for your child to live after you. So in conclusion, Mr. Principal, these young girls will have to make very difficult decisions. They will have to check the implications of developing relationship with a member of the opposite sex at this age if they want to go to higher level. Because if they do, you may end up with a child. And if you're at an age where you cannot feed that child, and you want to further your education, further your skill, then you have a burden in your hands, which will interrupt your objectives, your goal. So if you are a girl with aspiration, knowing that you don't want to wake up early hours of the morning with the baby crying because you are not yet ready to feed that child at the early hours of the morning, or take care of that child when that child is ill, or even clothe that child because you do not even have the ability to clothe yourself, not to talk about that child. You are still under parental support. So why would you take another burden when you cannot even support your own self? So therefore, the choice is yours. You must be able to have the discipline to control yourself. And psychologists call that deferred gratification. You know that the farmer could eat the seed, the groundnut, but prefer to deprive himself, herself of that groundnut seed, because knowing that if she eats that seed, she will not be able to plant for another season. Then the farmer defer that gratification, that joy of eating the groundnuts, and save it, and will work for months under the hot sun to plant the seed. For what purpose? So that he or she will reap the harvest, the bumper harvest That is what you call deferred gratification. So therefore, this young girl would have to exercise that discipline. That even though I can enjoy certain things in life now, but it will interrupt the big harvest, the bumper harvest. So I will save the joy for tomorrow and work hard today to be able to harvest the bumper harvest tomorrow. That is what discipline is all about. The same thing with the young man. You can enjoy the fruits of life. Have children if you wish, that you're going to take care of. Because your conscience is yet to speak the language of justice. Because if your conscience speaks the language of justice, you will not do injustice to others. And you will not want to bring a child into this world that you're going to take care of. Or make another girl to suffer when you're going to take care of the girl. So you will engage in deferred gratification. The same thing as you've advised them, not to engage in taking drugs. Yes, you may go to the dancing, etc., and take those things. But ultimately, it will destroy your life. And you will fail to reap the bumper harvest. My conclusion, therefore, Mr. Principal, is that you have advised them that failure in life is not an option. So that must be our slogan today. Failure in life is not an option. Nobody must be ready to fail in life. And with discipline, we'll prepare ourselves to succeed. So discipline is nourishment of your potentialities and taking the time that is necessary to nourish those capacities so that tomorrow you succeed. Thank you very much.